I'm Michelle. Welcome back to Finally Revealed. In this episode, I want to back up a little bit and talk about a promissory note. I talk about when you should get one, and I realize some people might not know what it exactly is. A promissory, and it's Promissory, not promissory like some people say, but a promissory note is a document, a piece of paper. It's nothing special. It can be typed or handwritten. It stems from the old-fashioned IOU. And that is what that means. I loan you money, you owe me. You loan me money, I owe you. And I would write, I owe you $5 and sign my name, Michelle, and hand it to you. And then you would have that to say, hey, I'm coming to collect, you owe me $5. Fork it over. Well, there are rules on when you need to have one. For example, for the statute of frauds, which is covered on another video, if you have an obligation or something that you want to enforce, somebody has borrowed a significant amount, it has to be in writing if you want to force them to pay you back. But for amounts smaller than that, you don't have to have a promissory note. And if you want to go on the old-fashioned handshake, even if you have to sue somebody to collect the money, you still can. Now, it's going to mean that you have to prove it. You're going to have to prove that the money was loaned. You're going to have to prove what the terms were to pay it back, and how much they paid you and how much they still owe you. So you can do that, but a promissory note will, I think it's good for several things. Number one, if you really want the money to be paid back to you, then you should have it in writing. It's something about people signing something that makes it official, just between you. And I'm not saying that anyone's trying to skip out on you. It's just that it seems that when you sign something and there's a lot of zeros, maybe it's $1,000 and that's a lot of money. If somebody is signing this, then they realize that this is not a gift and you're not going to forget that you expect them to pay you back. So the other thing, if you are the one paying the money back, that is helpful to have a promissory note is because you want to know what the terms are that you are going to fulfill to repay the money and how much you're going to pay them back. Are you going to pay interest? What's the interest rate and how much exactly is that going to be? When are you expected to pay them back? How are you going to pay them back? Is it going to be by check or debit or cash, and on what day and at what address? Are you going to just deposit it in their bank? Are you going to do it by an ACH? Are you going to do a wire transfer? Most banks now, I think you can go in online and just send money, and or you're going to write a check. So that's helpful to you too, because then you can track it and make sure that you don't pay too much and that they get their money back and you've satisfied the obligation. Now, there are other things that you can add into the promissory note. It doesn't have to be in any particular fancy format, but the information you want on there is the date, the amount that's loaned, how it's going to be paid back. Is it going to be paid back all at once? And if so, when? There's such a thing called on demand. So I could loan you $5,000, you sign a promissory note, and I say, Joe, you're going to pay me 10% interest on this $5,000, and then again, you can pay me the interest once a month, or just wait and you pay me the whole amount I loaned you plus the interest when it's due or when I demand it, which means, how am I going to demand it? I'll call you up, send you a letter, send you an email. I need the money by Friday. What is the expectation? So you want to have how it's going to be paid back, how much is going to be paid back. Is there an interest rate? What's the interest rate? Then, are you going to make monthly payments? And is there a situation where you can call the whole amount even though they're making monthly payments? Are you going to allow them to be late? How late can they be before you say, you know what, deal is off and I want all the money and I have the right to now demand all of the money back from you? And that would be in a default provision. If it's a significant amount of money and you are going to have to sue them, in the promissory note you can provide that if that happens, they have to pay your attorney's fees, and they have to pay the court costs. and you can put that in there. And in fact, in most places, I will check this and put it on the website if it's different, but in most places you have to have it in writing and agreed between the two of you, or if they default and you have to go chase them and sue them and pay an attorney, that's just an extra cost that you're going to have to expend on your own, and there's no obligation for them to have to pay that back to you, and that's money that you're going to have to pay in advance before you even get a judgment and even get your money back. So these are things for you to think about, and if it is a significant amount of money to you and you want to specify how it's going to be repaid so you can count on that coming back to you at a certain time, then you probably want a promissory note. So I hope this is helpful to you. If it was, leave me a comment. If you have any questions or anything about anything I've said, leave it in the comments or send an email. And I hope you will subscribe, and I'll see you next time.